Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. My name is Mars, and today we're going to do the complete guide for Sora. And this is a video that was highly requested on one of my more recent videos, so I figured I would go over Sora, his kit, some building tips that I have for him. Now, of course, I do have to put out a disclaimer. I don't actually have a Sora of my own, so we're going to be playing with a friend unit today to look at his kit, what he can do, and then we'll look at some builds and hopefully give you some direction on how you can get the most out of your Sora. So, we're actually in a real trial just so that we have the opportunity to check out some of his skills in action, because, you know, I can't take him into a dummy or anything, so we make do with what we got. So, and I'm not going to break the boss's defense because I don't want him to evaporate. And then Hio's just going to hang out, and so let's take a look at Sora's kit real quick, give it a brief overview of what we have. Okay, magic we don't care about because you're never going to use any of these, but as far as his abilities go, he's got quite a few decent abilities. Slapshot is a nice one to help fill his own limit burst gauge. I believe it fills it 3 to 4. Limit crystals, which is nice. Stun impact is an okay AoE move if you need it for clearing something. I obviously would not use it very much. Hurricane Blast is actually a really unique ability that I like a lot because it is a hurricane chaining ability that also does an AoE 50% defense break. So this is actually nice to help your damage out a little bit if you don't have a defense breaker in your party. Blitz, I think, is kind of a, if I recall correctly, it's not a very good move. It doesn't chain and it doesn't do a lot of damage, so pretty easy to ignore. As far as his other abilities, Vortex is a multi-hit ability, so if you want to hit something 4 times when dual wielding or whatever, this is a nice way to get a little extra damage out, and it works in the arena, which is nice. Ripple Drive is probably his first notable damage ability. This chains with the Meteor Rain family, which currently I believe only himself and Cloud belong to, and Meteor Rain is an AoE ability, and it's pretty good for doing some AoE damage. I believe I used it once in a Malboro destruction video. I think I used a pair of clouds to take out Malboro when that was a thing, and Meteor Rain was what you used. Now, this grants Sora a 130% attack buff for a few turns, so it's a good way to buff his own attack if he doesn't have it up from something else. Now, one of the abilities that we actually care about is Sonic Blade, which is his Divine Ruination skill, which means he can chain with other excellent damage dealers like Hio or Axstar in the future, or other Divine Ruination chainers that we have right now. So for many people, this is going to be his most commonly used ability. In addition to that, when you get him to a level 105, he gets access to Ars Arcanum, which is his absolute mirror of Tranquility Frame attack. And this is going to be his strongest chaining ability because it increases damage each time that it's used up to a certain maximum modifier. So this is going to be his strongest chaining ability, and it's going to chain with some of the best units in the game, and we'll talk more about that later with some builds. This strike rate ability is also a nice way to break defense and spirit for all enemies when you need it. And yeah, that's about it for his attacks. As far as some of his major support skills go, let's talk real quick about Dual Command. Dual Command is his W cast ability that allows him to use twice of his his offensive abilities twice per turn, which he gets all the time, which is very nice. And then he also has innate true double hand. He also has innate dual wield, which is excellent. Because it is 7-star form, he gets additional true double hand, and then he gets, I believe it's this one. Yes, he gets some true dual wield as well. So he's an extremely versatile unit as far as how to gear him up. And we'll talk more about gearing later, but it is very nice to have passives in both directions, especially when they're good. So, when he has his Keyblade equipped, he gets a pretty decent boost to a bunch of his stats. He gets 20% to all stats, and then if it's his TMR equipped, he gets HP, MP, and attack by 20%, and he gets the attack, defense, magic, and spirit by 20%. If he has the Keyblade that you get from the raid equipped, then you get that last set of buffs, but not the first one. So yeah. Anyways, it's a nice little buff in power. If you can equip him with his sword, that's great, but it isn't necessarily his best option, and we'll talk about that here in a second. His only cooldown skill is Combo Plus, which boosts his own attack by 200% and enables triple command for 3 turns. So this triple command is activated by both his limit burst and by this cooldown skill, and that allows him to use his offensive abilities 3 times per turn, which is very nice. So speaking of his limit burst, it is called Ragnarok. It is a single target attack, defense, magic, and spirit break to one enemy, and it also grants triple command, so you will likely be using this as part of his damage rotation to maintain triple cast, so it is very nice. And in addition to that, he has his TMR, which only he can equip, is the Kingdom Key, and it's a sword with pretty solid attack at 160, and it also gives him some elemental resistance and true dual wield, if I recall correctly. So if you have Sora, you're going to have access to this TMR, and nobody else can use it, which is lore appropriate from what I'm told. Now, the thing that is really nice about Sora is his STMR, if you're fortunate enough to get it. It is probably one of the strongest STMRs in the game, with a 70% attack boost, and I don't recall the true dual wield amount, but it's a lot. 70% attack with any amount of true dual wield is amazing. Very, very strong. So all around, he offers a ton. He's a great unit. So real quick, let's take a look at some of his abilities. Let's throw out this Divine Ruination one, see what that looks like. Nice. His animations even feel very true to Kingdom Hearts, so that's fun. Very cool. Okay, so I think I'm gonna have Hyo do his little... He's got... So his cooldowns... Oh, wait, it's this one. Yeah, I don't use Hyo enough, and that's my B. So let's see what they can do with their cooldown skills. So for both of them, they'll have triple cast enabled next turn. Let's do Lauren's Thick Break. And then we're gonna do... I don't know what. Zargaboth, what do you want to do? What do you want to do, my dude? Let's just generate some crystals. We'll pop a promote, and we'll fill some more limit bursts. So, now I haven't tested this at all. I have no idea how much damage Sora will do in this situation, but I'm imagining... Oh, shoot. Yeah, we can't try to one-shot the boss. Yeah, we gotta use Sora's limit burst. Actually, I bet we won't kill it, because this guy's got super high defense. We may as well give it a try, and then if we actually kill the boss, then we can just go look at what his limit burst looks like after the fact. Oh shoot, do I not have... I can entrust. Lauren's LB is super handy because I've got 2 thunder damage dealers here, so that Imperil was kind of, you know, what I wanted. I don't know why I doubted. I really don't. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay. Well, anyways. Another note about Sora's limit burst, since we are talking about it, is that it is only a couple of hits, so it's not really suitable for chaining. You are mostly going to use it just for the triple cast effect and whatever flat damage it provides. However, you could use someone like White Note Noel and Rem, who are tanks and healers during their primary turns, to use a third off turn to kind of chain up to make that limit burst into a finishing move. But that requires a little bit of finesse. Totally up to you if that's something you want to try and do. Let me see if I can find another Sora to take in. I don't actually know if I would be able to get a limit burst going, but anyways, do I have any other friends up? I have one. Yeah, let's just go in and see if I can look at him in the menu to see what that limit burst looks like, because I'm sure it's super pretty, and I actually haven't looked yet because I'm a really bad Kingdom Hearts fan. I'm sorry. Minor digression, I've not actually seen Kingdom Hearts before, it's not a movie. I haven't actually played Kingdom Hearts before, so I don't know if you can actually... I'm trying to long tap him, but it's not doing it, so I don't think you can see it from here, so I'd have to fill that limit burst. So let's see if we can actually do that. Let's do some... going all out to get our hands on that limit burst. This is kind of silly. Okay, I have enough entrusters that we should be okay. Especially with Demon Rain. Good heavens. Okay. This is how dedicated I am to demonstrating this limit burst. Here we go. Alright. Yeah, that is exceptionally pretty. But not super good for chaining, not super good for finishing because it is longer than most finishing moves, but very cool limit burst, gives him triple cast, breaks the target by 65% to all stats when fully leveled, so all in all, very good. Now as far as rotation goes, what you're going to want to do is use Sora's cooldown skill on the first turn to unlock triple cast, and then use triple cast until it runs out, and then use his limit burst to up it again, and then to keep doing triple cast until it falls off again, and then, you know, use his limit burst or his cooldown skill to kind of maintain that. So it is a pretty simple rotation, very similar to CG Hyo or to other multicast users who have W cast, or like Kurosame is another good example. All in all, very simple to do, but a lot of people are asking the big question of, should I do true double hand or should I do dual wield for Sora? So we're going to take a quick look at some, this is obviously the optimum build, okay? Don't think at all that this is the direction you have to go, but if you are Dire the Legend 27 or someone who just has everything somehow, you can get Sora to almost 3,000 attack, which is pretty insane at this stage in the game. That amount of attack is humongous, but you do notice that it's STMRs in every single slot, many of which are from limited time units. So the average person's gonna probably not want to mess with that, but it is worth noting that this is not going to be your best damage build, and the reason for that is because we have a non-elemental weapon, so this is only the best build if you have an external imbuer. I would say that as one of Sora's larger drawbacks as a double hand unit is that he doesn't have any innate imbues or innately elemental attacks, which means that somebody has to grant it to him externally, or he can use something like, oh gosh, I don't remember what it's called. It's an accessory you can equip that allows you to imbue yourself with fire, or the bomb arm, I think, is a materia that also does that. It's not something I do a lot, so I forget these things, because imbuing is usually a giant pain that people would rather do without. So that being said, if you want to go for the most damage, you're going to use a great sword with damage variance as his two-handed weapon, and then you're going to build him true double hand, and that is going to get him the most damage as long as you're supporting him with imbuers, which we all know is kind of a pain and most people don't do, but if you want to show off to people, that's how you would do it. Now, if you want to look at his best build for dual wield, you're going to be seeing something like this at over 2,500 attack. Once again, loaded to the gills with STMRs, but at least I don't think any of these are limited aside from Sora's. And this is going to do a lot of damage as well, but we run into the same problem of no elemental weapons or no elemental imbues. So with this build, you would have to imbue as well, which is why I think that if I had a Sora, which again I've said I don't, and I probably will not have one, I would build him something like this. I would build him with Flaming Blade Agni because fire is one of the easiest weapons to combo with. It's easy to imperil. Most bosses are susceptible to fire at the current stage of the game, and it synergizes super well with Laswell, who is an AT chaining frame chainer, as well as CG Hyo, who is a Divine Ruination. So this opens up Sora's flexibility more than any other element and any other weapon. You can, of course, use Dandelga if you haven't. I omitted that one because I don't actually know anybody who has Dandelga, so I have like one friend on my friends list who has it. So Flaming Blade Agni, and I would use the Kingdom Key, his TMR, of course, for all of those sweet passives, that true dual wield. It's excellent, and you can see that this is all TMRs only, no STMRs, and we're at 2,300 attack, which is very good for a dual wield build at this stage in the game. And he also has the Dragoon Helmet, Hyo's Clothes, the colorful lays, and Adam Jensen's TMR, as well as some sword passive materia, and you can see that with some nice item world rolls you can get over 10k HP with 2300 attack. This is awesome. This is good. This is what I would personally run, because then he could chain with either of his two big chaining families. And personally, I think that the AT chaining frame skill is going to be a better choice for Sora in most cases, because it does do more damage. Now, the problem that we have right now is that we don't have anybody aside from Sora who can triple cast an AT frame skill, to my recollection, so somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but the two other best AT frame damage dealers are the two 7-star Laswells, or two of them, because there's a third one. Crappy Vampire Laswell, who is actually not crappy, he's a good unit, he just looks crappy. And CG Laswell, who does not look crappy and looks amazing and has one of my favorite CG LBs and does a bajillion damage and imperils fire. You know, CG Laswell is going to be one of Sora's best friends if you're doing a dual wield build. Unless, of course, you're imperiling fire externally and using a Sora dupe. So this is what I'd go with. You can alternatively do a double hand build using an elemental sword, but the problem right now is that our elemental two-handed weapon selection is not very good for anything elemental. So you could do Bahamut Tear or Bahamut Tear. I never played the game that it came from, so I don't know what it's called. You could use that if you have it. Most people don't. The other option that a lot of people are more likely to have is Vajrayana, which is Nalu's STMR, but you would need an equipped spear materia for that, so probably not worth it, which means that Lionheart is the next best one, and then after that it's just any of the other elemental swords, great swords. So the drawback with this, of course, is that you lose out on his Trust Mastery passive. However, his attack doesn't drop that much. You can see that he's... Good heavens. Is this using JP formula or something? This is ridiculous. Anyways. Anyways, you can do quite a bit with this. No, it's not using it. It's 300 true double hand, 400%. Good heavens. Yeah. So even if you're missing out on some of his passives by not having his TMR equipped, you can still get better damage by using just a plain old elemental weapon. Of course, you're better off using something like Lionheart or Cloud's STMR if that's what you have, if you can do the imbue. But always, always, always make sure that you're considering your elemental options, because those have a bigger impact on your damage to be able to build those elemental chains. So if I see you running, you know, a Sora with a Lionheart, I'm going to assume that you're using an imbuer, because if you're not, you're hurting your damage quite a bit. And that's the reason why I typically recommend the elemental weapons. So as far as the question of should you go true dual wield or true double hand, that's going to depend on the equipment that you have available. Do you have a couple of colorful lays, but you're limited on your Martial gloves or your Kingdom Heart Cloud TMRs or your Cloud TMRs? Then consider dual wield, because if you have the colorful lays, you can get a similar amount of damage out of a dual wield build on Sora than you could with a true double hand build. And if you're dual wield, goodness, there's so many words going on. I want to make sure I have them all straight. If you have more stuff for dual wield, do dual wield. If you have more stuff for double hand, do double hand. That's basically the short version of it. Both of them do a comparable amount of damage. In the highest tiers of play, true double hand can beat it. If you do a non-elemental two-handed weapon of some kind, you do need external imperils for the damage to be worth it. So that's the short version of it. Build it based on what you've got. You can make it work. Sora's an amazingly flexible unit. Like I said, I prefer this setup with the Flaming Blade Agni and the Kingdom Key, because then he could chain with just about anybody. He keeps a respectable amount of attack, and we've not used any STMRs in this build, which means that just about anybody, it's more accessible for people. Because I know 5-star TMRs still elude people, but it's a lot better than trying to say, okay, build your Sora like this with STMRs, because man, that's just torture. So then comes the question of, is Sora worth your investment? Is he worth pulling for? Is he worth, I don't know, is he worth it? Giant question mark. The number one rule always stands of, if you love a unit, or if you love Kingdom Hearts or whatever, you should definitely go for it, because the opportunity is not going to stick around. This is your one shot at it. Worst case scenario, you don't have Sora, and also you lose all of your lapis and tickets, but you know, at least you tried. That being said, I have major complaints about this banner, okay? Let's real talk real quick. I am really sick of these banners. No, not you. I wanted to look at the step up. I'm really sick of these banners that don't, like, man, you could do 4 laps on this and still strike out on the unit you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could pull your brains out, and I just got finished watching Clay's stream tonight where he did just that. He pulled his brains out, and, you know, no disrespect to his decision at all. Like, you know, obviously he wants the units and people are supporting him in his endeavor to get them, and that's awesome. But like, for the average player, this is ridiculous. Like, the amount of statistically, the amount of pulling that you have to do to be able to get what a lot of people are hoping for out of these banners is just asinine to me. So I don't know, the fact that your only guarantee is here on the end, you know, for anything banner related, frustrates the hell out of me. And that's why I think that, like, so this Christmas banner right here is awesome. This is like an amazing banner. Sure, we don't have a guaranteed rainbow at step 3, but you know what we've got? Guaranteed banner units the entire way. No matter which step you pull a rainbow on, it's going to be one of these 3 units. And if you're pulling on this banner, it's because you want these units. So I don't know, it's frustrating because we got this awesome banner, amazing, and you can even use tickets on it, and you only get banner rainbows, right? If you use tickets here, the only rainbows you're gonna get are the banner rainbows, and that is awesome. But this new Christmas banner, nope, you're gonna get wrecked. The Sora Cloud banner, also nope. You stand a pretty good chance of getting wrecked. So, you know, as far as like the value, I think the Christmas banner is like the best banner value we've ever had, personally, just because every rainbow is one that you're potentially chasing. So I don't know. From strictly like a utility perspective, I think these banners are just okay. The Cloud Sora one is just okay. And then if you're out of luck after doing all 4 laps, you have to do raw 10+1 pulls, which to me is just, it's so depressing to think about. Because I watched Clay pull for hours and not get that last cloud that he was, or Sora that he was looking for. So, you know, it's just fresh in my mind as an example of like, okay, well, we just had an awesome banner with Christmas. Why do we have to deal with a banner that doesn't at least give us tokens or like some sort of guarantee or something that just makes it better than like the standard step up? So anyways, from a utility perspective, I think the banner's kind of not the best investment. Granted, step up banners are going to be better than most other uses of lapis, but as time goes on, step ups are just going to get better and better and better. Hopefully, ideally, that's what we would hope for in the game. So, utility-wise, I'm passing for that reason. I don't have an emotional attachment to Kingdom Hearts because I didn't grow up with a PlayStation 2, so I apologize for being ignorant to the game. However, Phoenix is taking good care of me. He's forcing me to supervise him through all of the most important cutscenes as he's replaying through the series in preparation for the release, so don't worry, at least I can hold a conversation about it. Now, yeah, I think that just about covers everything with the complete guide for Sora. I really hope everybody got him who wanted him, or Kingdom Hearts Cloud, who is also an amazing unit on that banner. They are a very strong unit, so as far as, you know, whether or not it's worth it if you actually get them, absolutely. I think they're great units that are worth the investment. They're worth your Cactuars, they're worth your Gil. They are very strong, and the nice thing that's an important note for people in the future is that these units are going to get a buff far down the line. So in 8 or 9 or 10 months from now, Kingdom Hearts Cloud and Sora will be receiving buffs to bring them in line with where the Japanese version of the units are currently in that version of the game, which means that they're going to be pretty top of the pack as far as damage dealers go. So that means if you're looking for units that have very long longevity, they're actually very good units to invest in. But of course, I think we all know that people are going to pull on this banner because they like the units, because they love Kingdom Hearts, and I think that that's reason enough. But yeah, great units to invest in. They're a smart investment if you have them, but I just don't like the banner, because I'm mad that we don't have more like the Christmas banner, because I threw all of my King Mog tickets at this Christmas banner, and getting nothing but banner rainbows that come to you is just the best feeling. So, you know, that's where I'm like, well, why couldn't the limited time banners be more like this? But hopefully that sort of thing will come in the future. We'll see. But that's been my complete guide for Sora. Did I miss anything? I don't own the unit, so I definitely could make some mistakes, so if I miss anything, or if there are other considerations that I should have mentioned in the video, please let me know in the comments and we can talk about it there. And if there's anything else that you would like me to cover in future videos, please let me know as well. And I will see everybody in the next one.